Let's cross live now to Lee Doddridge in Cardiff. He is the director of Covenant security firm. Lee, thanks so much for joining us. After 27 years, is this justice?
I think it's a milestone for the families. They have obviously been campaigning for quite some time now to obviously get to this decision and actually get to this very stage in the inquiry. It will be relief to them that they now have this finding, but there is obviously a long way to go, depending on whether the investigation then turns into a criminal investigation.
Isn't, though, a bigger problem here that the police and emergency crews on staff didn't fully understand the dynamics of a crowd crush, also called a stampede? Even today, stampedes catch authorities off guard all over the world.
Yes, well, there are a number of aspects, obviously, that led to the actual crush on the day, and part of that was, due to probably the poor planning and operating on the day. The relative lack of turnstiles for the Liverpool fans compared to that of the Nottingham Forest supporters, and then obviously the fateful decision to open up the walkway through to Leppings Lane. Obviously, since that incident, a lot of work has been done in understanding the dynamics of that crowd crush, and how, if such an incident occurred again in that sort of arena, what could be done to obviously reduce the impact and hopefully prevent any further crushes.
So do you think this could happen again, given what's been done as a result of the disaster in Hillsborough?
Well, I think that would be highly unlikely, especially if we look at the model that's now been adapted here in the UK, and I know a number of major clubs, especially throughout Europe, have adopted the same things. I mean, following quite quickly after the Hillsborough disaster with the Football Spectators Act of 1989, they required the immediate replacement of all terraces to make them all-seater, the removal of the perimeter and lateral barriers, which were initially putting to prevent the crowd control when in the UK we were suffering high levels of football violence. All that was overseen in the UK by the Sports Ground Safety Authority. So those measures in place have actually reduced the capacity that can build up in those areas, so you don't have, as we had at Leppings Lane, a small pen of a terrace construction where obviously people can stand and get quite close together. Now you have a capacity which is obviously, they can't go over that maximum. Everyone is actually in seating areas. Other areas that have also improved were creations of things like the Football Safety Officers Association. So every club now in the UK has what they call a safety officer, who is trained in all aspects of safety at the grounds and obviously any emergencies that may arise from there. We now have trained stewards, which have, back in the times of Hillsborough, the policing and the police officers actually undertook a lot of the crowd control at the games. That is now done by professional stewards, allowing the police to actually do the actual policing role, and the majority of that is now done from a dedicated control room, which in itself is multi-agency, so you have the ambulance service there and relative agencies to go along with it.
Okay.
So far, the inquiries. Sorry,
look, we're going to have to leave it there, Lee. Unfortunately, the clock works against us sometimes. Thank you so much, though, for sharing your insight from Cardiff.